Hello, friends. Thank you for joining Storytime with Miss Rogers today. Today, we're actually going to be reading a chapter book called Libby, Whimbley, Goat Trainer, written by Amy Cobb. Let's explore. Let me know in the comments how much you enjoyed the book and any suggestions on our next read. Chapter 1, Pet Show. Libby, Whimbley, and her friends were excited. It was time for their school's annual fall festival. There were fun games, there were also cool prizes, and there was Libby's favorite, the pet show. Look at the cat, Becca said. I didn't know cats could catch frisbees. Me neither, but my favorite animal is a dog that folds socks. With her nose, said Mason. Libby smiled. I wish I had a dog like that when it's time to sort my laundry. Becca and Mason laughed. Then Mason asked, What's your favorite animal, Libby? Libby thought for a minute. She wasn't sure. There was the goldfish that swam through a tiny hoop and the colorful parrot that said bonjour. Libby had never heard a parrot say hello in French before. I like them all, Libby finally said, but none of them are as smart as Elvis. Your goat? Becca asked. Libby nodded. Then she got an idea. Maybe she could teach Elvis some tricks. Her friends could help. Chapter 2, Serious Business. On Saturday, Becca and Mason went to the farm where Libby lived. They found Libby in the pasture with Elvis. Hello, Libby waved. You're just in time to see your goat trainer extraordinaire in action. Becca and Mason both smiled. What trick will you teach Elvis first? Becca asked. Libby held up a frisbee. Let's show Elvis how to play. Libby tossed the frisbee to Mason. Then Mason threw it to Becca. When Becca caught it, she sailed it back through the air to Libby. See, Elvis, it's easy, Libby said. Catch! But Elvis didn't catch the frisbee. It flew right past his horns and landed with a thud on the grass. Elvis pawed it with his hooves. I don't think Elvis likes the frisbee, Mason said. Libby shrugged. Let's try another trick. The dog at the pet show folded socks. I bet Elvis can, too. She pulled a pair of socks from her pocket, but Elvis began nibbling on them. Becca and Mason laughed, but Libby didn't. Being a goat trainer extraordinaire was serious business. Chapter 3, Silly Goat. Libby tried a different trick. Elvis said, bonjour. She even held up an apple slice for a treat. But Elvis couldn't speak French, like the bird at the school pet show. He only spoke goat. Meh, meh, he said, reaching for the apple. Maybe you should try an easy trick, Becca said. Mason nodded. Like sit or stay? Good idea, Libby said, but Elvis wouldn't sit. And when Libby told Elvis to stay, he didn't. Instead, Elvis followed Libby everywhere she went. Let's take a break, Libby said. She and her friend sat on the cool grass. Elvis must be good at something, Mason said. But what? Libby picked at a dandelion leaf. She was sad that Elvis might never star in a pet show. Elvis began to nuzzle Libby's hair, then her cheek. Stop it, silly goat, Libby laughed and petted him. Mason smiled. Elvis is funny. And he loves people, Becca said when Elvis climbed onto her lap. That was true. Elvis made everyone laugh, and he liked making friends. That's it, Libby cried. Is it a new trick for Elvis? Becca asked. Sort of, Libby said. You'll see soon. Super cool, Libby said, smiling. So Mom and Dad helped Libby make some phone calls. When they were finished, Elvis had lots of places to visit. Libby held up the calendar. For the next few weeks, Elvis is going to be a busy goat, she said. And you'll be a busy girl, Dad said. Elvis is your goat, so you have to go with him. Dad was right. Libby and Elvis will make new friends together. I can't wait until Elvis hears the big news, Libby said. She rushed outside to tell him. Chapter 5, One Special Goat. The first place Libby and Elvis went was the retirement center. Everyone there petted Elvis and fed him treats. A few days later, they visited the hospital. Elvis snuggled with the patients. The nurses asked Libby to bring Elvis back again. Now Libby and Elvis were at Libby's school. Lots of kids gathered around Elvis. They took turns reading books to him. Elvis sniffed the pages and said, "Meh, meh." Becca and Mason were there too. I think Elvis is a hit, Becca said. Maybe the kids will teach Elvis to read, Mason said. That would be a good trick. Libby laughed. It would be. But Elvis isn't a trick goat after all. He's a therapy goat. A therapy goat? Becca asked, and Mason said, Are you serious? Libby was serious. It turned out Elvis didn't need to learn tricks like catching a frisbee or sorting socks. Elvis was best at just being himself. Libby thought Elvis was one special goat. Sure, Libby finally said. And it has a nice ring to it. Elvis, the therapy goat extraordinaire. Thank you for reading with me again today, friends. Until next time, bye-bye and happy reading.